right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get any...
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's our Friday episode of Coast to Coast. I am your host, Pags. I got Bo from Seattle, and I've got McLovin from Houston, who is a bandwagon Cowboys fan. Let's go. Friday edition, Friday NFL playoff edition. We're going to do a deep dive of all the playoff games. But first, how about the big surprise? You know, I was thinking that we were going to see Mike Vrabel as the coach of New England, but that's not the case. That is not the case.
I thought Mayo might get it. You know, even before there was all this talk about Bill leaving and all this craziness, it seemed like they were. I've always heard Mayo's name in the back foreground of possible candidates to replace Bill. I know Frankie the Yankee. He's a huge, obviously, Patriots guy, and he's always been talking about Mayo being in the background of their discussion. So it doesn't surprise me that they went with Mayo, but I could have seen Vrabel since he has Patriot connections as well. I mean, honestly.
I assumed that it was going to be Vrabel. I didn't think that there would be any other opportunity for anybody else. But
yeah, I thought Vrabel definitely had the inside track there. But yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise to see that.
You know, and I mean, it seems like they started predicting. You know, NFL matchmakers started predicting things, and of course they actually had okay, Vrabel is like the perfect thing for the Patriots, and of course that's not really the case. But they got here's what they have so far. Jim Harbaugh goes to the Chargers.
Okay.
Bill Belichick to the Falcons.
I could see that.
Mike Vrabel to the Patriots, which we now know is not going to work.
Yep.
Mike McDonald for the Seahawks.
Interesting.
Antonio Pierce is going to remain with the Raiders.
He should.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is going to be at the Commanders. Interesting pick there.
Yeah.
Panthers is going to be Frank Smith.
For how many games? What's the over-under?
And the Titans is Bobby Slowick.
That's that young guy they were talking about. Yeah. Okay. I'm surprised that they would leave Pierce as the coach of the Raiders just because of the fact that, we've all been talking about the inmates run the asylum. I mean, how is he really going to control that team if he doesn't have control of it already?
Yeah, I think that's just a narrative that people put out there. I mean, they clearly play for the guy, right? I mean, they played a lot harder than they did. I mean, granted, it was McDaniels and everybody wasn't a fan, but
right. But there has to be some truth to that inmates running the asylum. I mean, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, it has to be. I'm not saying it's full 100, but there's got to be some truth to that these players are at least having a larger part of what goes on with that team.
Well, I mean, as a coach, he may be one of those coaches that they deem as a player's coach, where he takes input from players, right? I mean, so there is definitely some of that. He does seem like more of a player-friendly guy. I mean, at the first game that he had after he took over, he had his practice squad on the sideline, which I actually respected. I thought that was pretty cool, because the practice squad guys, I mean, they work, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
they're out there getting beat up. So I actually respected that a bunch for him to bring his practice squad guys for that home game. That was pretty cool. But I mean, is it really inmates running the asylum if he's just taking input from players? I mean,
well, I mean, I think every coach takes input from players, but if you get to the point where, well, I'm not saying every coach, but I'm saying I do think that players do give input. Now, you can't tell me players don't give input, but to the point where they're saying that these players are more or less running the team, that had to get to a certain level that is not normal for a team.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tough to say because we're not in the building, right? But I mean,
Well, absolutely.
so could there be truth to it? Sure. Why not? I mean, it's first-time head coach, so he's going to be kind of learning on the job. But I don't know. I think he did enough this year to at least get a shot, especially since the Raiders misfired the last time they had this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it helps his case to kind of win this job.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing he has to do is restore stability to that team and to that coaching staff. I mean, that's the first thing he has to do. Because apparently, even if what you're saying is like not is true, I mean, there's obviously a perception though that the players are running. So the first thing he has to do is get control of that team and establish that the players aren't running the team, that it is us, running the
First
team.
thing I would do, coach, is get a new hairdresser for the owner.
Well,
okay.
That's true. That's true.
Like let's stop looking like a tool bag, and maybe, just maybe, we can get some respect in this friggin' league.
Hey, you know what they say? Dress for the job you want. He wants to be a tool bag.
But you know what? Have you ever noticed, though, a lot of people that have so much money, and it really is kind of more in the white perspective, they just don't know what to do with their money. That's why they got jack up haircuts. They don't know what to do. They just walk around nilly like,
I think
you ever seen Sam Walt? Sam Walt didn't have the best haircut, but yeah, he's got billions of dollars. Bill Gates had a bowl-looking haircut, but yeah, he's got billions of dollars. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes when you get so much money, maybe you just don't care. Maybe you're like, I got all this money. What do I care what Pags thinks about my haircut? What Bo thinks about my haircut? Bo over there with the half-open shirt, and he ain't got no hair to show. I mean, what are we doing?
No, yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? He doesn't care because
I gotta be honest. If I got billions of dollars,
he's going for the Mo look, for the the Three Stooges Mo look. I mean, that was in fashion back in the 40s and 50s. So
either that or an Amish look. It kind of has an Amish trend to it. So
he's part of the Amish mafia. That's it. Again, ridiculous. The guy is a straight tool. And what else did I see here? The GM, they hired a GM in Washington, Peters.
Yep. Yeah, the assistant GM for the Niners.
Right. Adam Peters as the new GM, which is.
I think that's a good step for them, honestly.
Well, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see some stability come to that organization. Now, that's going to be the first thing that the Harris Group. I'm knowing the Harris Group from the Sixers and knowing how they kind of came in here and took over here. They're going to initiate some stability.
Absolutely.
I would suspect. I was talking yesterday how I felt that with Bill Belichick gone now, that up until maybe even about 7 years ago, maybe even less, coaches would come in to a new program and say they would have a 3 to 5 year plan. And they would get to 3 to 5 years. All of a sudden now, it's what have you done for me lately? You need to get up and get back in the win column very, very quickly. Truth of the matter is that it doesn't work that quickly. Sometimes if you have a lot of pieces in place, you can make that happen. The Chargers next year, if they went from worst to first, wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world.
Definitely.
But ultimately, you don't have that happen very often.
Yeah.
So my expectation is that they are going to start to get some stability within the organization. They're going to give a coach. They're going to hire a coach who is going to have a long leash. So now that Mike Vrabel is not going to the Patriots, I now slate him for Washington. I think that's going to go. Now, The only other thing I could think of is that maybe they bring in the offensive coordinator from the 49ers since they're going to have some type of rapport with the GM.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you got to feel good about this GM selection, right? Because I mean, what John Lynch has been able to do down there, with the Niners has been impressive. So if you're bringing his assistant, who is benefiting from the tutelage of John Lynch, that obviously that's awesome. Like that'll be great for that team, especially when you think of the disaster that they've been really for a long time.
Right. And like I said, I feel like any coach that they hire here is going to be given a long leash. You're not going to have to look over your shoulder to worry about getting fired or anything like that. That's going to be one of those situations that I think is, they're going to give him the opportunity to start to get his team in order. And if it doesn't happen, barring a ridiculous situation, barring a coup of massive proportions, but I don't see that occurring.
Yeah, I think it takes a little while to really develop that culture that you're wanting to bring into a team anyway, especially if they've had a different culture. So it takes a little while to find players that will, not number one, have the talent, but also that find players that will buy into what you're trying to sell as a coach. So like y'all were saying, that really does take a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
Exactly. The other thing that I saw here, what did I see? Ticket prices in Kansas City. Ticket prices, the cheapest ticket you can get right now is $43 for a playoff
that's cheap.
game.
That's amazing.
Well, hell yeah, if we're going to let you bring in a portable heater, that'd be perfect.
Whatever. I want to go.
Hey, I'm just saying.
That's a little chilly for me. I would have to, like, for that game specifically, if it was that cold, I would have to forego the shoulder pads. I could not go to that game with shoulder pads on. I would have to be wearing layer after layer after layer after layer. At the end of that, I'm going to look like Ralphie's brother in A Christmas Story.
100%. 100%.
I gotta be honest with you, man. If that's why I don't do. I know I don't do good in cold weather climates to go see football game. I would rather, if it's gonna be that damn cold, I'd rather like Bo said, I'd rather be at a Wingstop with the beer watching the game with people, or at my house on my couch with wings and the wife watching TV. Watching the game. I don't know. I'm a guy, a creature of comfort. So, God, I've lived up north, and I know what that weather feels like, especially those lake effects. Good God, those lake effects hurt.
Now, if I were to go to that game, I would full on get the heated motorcycle riding gear for that day.
Yeah.
Because then it's all battery powered, so you'd be toasty, right? Everybody else be miserable around you, but you'd be all right.
You hope.
Yeah,
you hope.
I did what my father-in-law asked if I wanted to go
bring extra battery packs.
They actually have really good battery life because they're designed for being out on your motorcycle. Right, which is why I didn't say I would just grab some of those Amazon heated socks. Like that's not going to be a real thing. No, it would be the full on motorcycle gear because those things are set up to like keep you warm for 6 hours. So, and let's be honest, it'd be cranked all the way to 10. Right, like you're just maximum heat. Let's do this.
I'd have what do you call it? I had like a little beanie cap, and inside that beanie cap would just be nothing but hand warmers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I would probably just tape it to the side of my mohawk.
Just have hand warmers on the side. Paint them green so it matches, and then, yeah, absolutely. Hey, that's innovative.
But anyways, the other game that weather may be a factor is on Monday. They're talking about torrential downpour for the Tampa Bay Eagles game.
That'd be fun.
Oh.
Yeah. My makeup does not hold up very well in the rain.
Sure.
I melt in the rain.
Can't you spray it with hairspray? Doesn't the hairspray hold the paint in better? Just, and then going out there. That's what I've always heard. Hey, listen, I don't know. I'm not a woman, but women say hairspray and makeup.
You're just going to be walking around with a can of Aquanet. Just
you know what happens? So I'll tell you what happens in that type of scenario. The hairspray is the first thing to wash off, along with all the paint. when
Yep.
it's a torrential downpour, ultimately all of it comes out. I melt
Oh.
like I'm the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, so you
So
just be watching the game from the concourse. That's what would happen.
absolutely not. I actually would watch the game and be soaked.
Okay,
I would probably. It would change the makeup that I wear.
sure.
For instance, the silver. The silver is a little bit more. Will last a little bit longer. The problem is that the silver, when it runs into my eyes, will actually burn my eyes.
Of
Like I don't
course.
ever
I
put
bet
the
it
silver
would.
around there.
Yeah.
And at the end of that game, I'll look like the Tin Man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's how I'll wind up ending up. But it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a torrential downpour for that game, and I will say that every game that it rains, the Eagles did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it would actually sway my pick. If it's going to be raining that hard, that would sway my pick because I like the Eagles' running game better than Tampa's. And
That's the problem, Bo. You sway too easily.
no, because I
You
don't
sway
I
too
don't
easily, Bo.
love this game. I don't love either team in this game. So this is if it's going to rain real hard, I'd probably actually change my pick to the Eagles.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas the bad weather for Buffalo doesn't matter. The Steelers are getting beat down.
Well, that's
Yeah, the
true.
only just because well, and we'll get all into all these picks here in just a few minutes here, because ultimately I figure with 6 games going on, we'll be able to talk mostly about this all day today. And in Tampa, I'm just trying to get the daily thing for Monday. Monday is 88% chance of thunderstorms, and
Mm.
at night it's going to be 63, 77% chance of rain, 10-mile-per-hour winds. It's raining with how much precipitation? About a quarter to a half of an inch.
Yeah. That's why I never understood. Even today, when they build stadiums, even today, some of them are building them as open stadiums. I don't understand why that. I would always have the retract. It seems like you'd want the retractable roof. That way, it rains, you close it, everybody still enjoys the game, whatever.
That's spoken like a true Cowboys fan.
You damn right it is. Hey, listen. Well, no, not true because the Cowboys don't even have I think they still have the hole in there. So no, that's not true. A true Cowboys fan would probably tell you they want the hole there. Me, I like retractable roofs. I just don't. I mean, even from a financial standpoint, it just makes absolute sense to have a retractable roof.
No, it makes sense to have a good team because then it doesn't matter what
Well,
the weather
I
is.
guess a team is going to have. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying you got to understand that point. If it's not raining, I can keep people in the stands. I can keep people buying the beer. I can keep people comfortable. That means you're going to want to buy the hot dogs and everything else. If they're pissed off and cold and wet, they're probably not going to want to buy as much concession stands. And that's really where I make my damn
Are you
money.
kidding me? They're buying
I
more
don't know.
because
I'm
they're
just
like,
saying.
man, I got to get out of my seat. I mean, realistically, if your team's good, the stadium's full. The only time the dome really is helpful is if it's going to be a thunderstorm, right? Because they do suspend the game if there's lightning.
Yeah, of course.
So you never have to worry about that unless it's designed like LA's, where there's still a hole at the end. So even if there's lightning, despite the fact that it's covered, because there's holes at the end, if there's lightning, they shut it down. It's just like,
I guess what I'm saying is either way, it gives you the option, right? If you really want the damn thing open and you want to get rained on, okay, so be it. But at least you have an option to it, right? Which in baseball, how many games got suspended in baseball because of not having a closed roof? They get rained out. If you had the option of a closed dome, you're not getting rained out.
yeah, so baseball's different because anything other than perfect weather, they stop playing. So that's a different animal. That's why we have a retractable roof here in Seattle for that, but we don't on our football stadium because you play in the elements in football and baseball, it's a little different.
And there's always elements in Seattle every time they play. So
right,
whether it's rain or
oh yeah, you guys up there in Washington, that's nothing but precipitation is like your friend.
especially in the winter. Although weirdly, we get generally pretty lucky for Hawks games. Like even if it rains that day, a lot of times it doesn't rain for the football game, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we definitely get rain.
It rained.
Yeah.
It rained
You
a
know,
little
they
bit.
asked me one time, hey, Jay, you want to go up there to Puget Sound? I think it was when I was in the Navy. And we're going to send you up there, or you can go over. I said, I ain't going to wash it. Are you kidding me? I like to keep my car clean. And if I go up there, I'm washing every fucking day. No, hell no.
Well,
Do not send me to Fort Lewis or any of them places up there.
Yeah, I mean, the winter we do get a lot of rain. Our summers are absolutely beautiful, though.
Oh, I bet you do have beautiful summers. I have no doubt about it.
But it rains all the time otherwise.
You know, it's funny. Like the rain, the way it's depicted in movies and stuff, you would think that it rains here 364 days a year, right? And
Right.
So realistically, we have a really nice summer. Spring and fall is kind of hit and miss. Our rainiest month is generally like November and parts of December, right? Like November, most of the time, like it's going to rain that whole month, basically. But outside of that, you know, it kind of comes and goes. It'll come in blocks, though. That's the worst part is you can end up with like a stretch of, 8 to 10 days of, gray and raining. And we get listed as a rain day, even if there's not a lot of rain. It's just like a little bit comes out, right? So even though we have a lot of days of rain, it doesn't actually end up like a lot of rain most of the time.
No, and I get that, but I mean, like what you call rain. I mean, I know it mist. Doesn't it mist a lot there though? It's not like a true rain, but it's misting a lot there, isn't it?
That's the thing is you'll get some of that like at night, and it's not as bad as everybody makes it sound. Except for the heart of the winter, it rains.
Right,
it's
right.
gray, like it's everything you ever see about Seattle. It'll be 40 degrees and raining and cloudy, and that just kind of is the middle of winter for us. But the rest of the time, it's a decent mix. And then the summer is going to be, in the 70s and gorgeous and everything's green because, we do get a lot of rain in the winter.
I gotta believe, not to switch gears, but speaking of weather, I gotta believe that of all the games that are being played during this wild card weekend, I gotta believe that the weather is probably the most critical for the Steelers Buffalo game because I feel like bad weather would be the Steelers' best friend. It's almost like the 12th man for them guys. Because I feel like if you have bad weather, it's almost like, remember back when New England played Buffalo and, Buffalo or New England wound up getting it because Buffalo just couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't really do much with the run game either. And New England wound up getting them just strictly on the run game alone and good defense. And I felt like that would be the one X factor for Pittsburgh is to have really crappy weather where Josh Allen can't throw the ball like he wants to. James Cook isn't as good of a run game necessarily as Najee Harris and Warren. I almost think that would play to that might be the only saving grace that, Pittsburgh can hold on to actually have a shot at beating Buffalo.
Yeah, except Noah Watt kind of gets rid of that because he's that dude. And
yeah.
I
I
give the Steelers about a 5% chance to pull this thing out. Like there's a chance, but it's not good.
That reminds me of that Dumb and Dumber. So there is a chance.
Your mic's off, man.
Mine is?
No. Thanks. Yeah, we can't hear you, buddy. Got to plug it in.
I'm telling you, the audio engineer is definitely not in his future.
Yeah, he is fired for sure.
How about now?
Hey,
oh, we are good. You must hit that on off switch.
It's been tough today. I tell you, I got technical difficulties all over the place.
Well, at least it's Friday, right? So
Exactly.
we got that going for us.
So I'll tell you my thoughts about Pittsburgh and their 5% there when we get to it. But let's start with game number 1 on the docket. The Cleveland Browns, 2-point favorites over the Houston Texans, and the over/under being 44.5.
Yeah, I still like the Texans here. And only because I just don't really trust Flacco's going to be that guy. They do have the better defense, obviously. But I like what Stroud's been able to do. And as long as he can stay upright, obviously, again, that Browns defense is no joke. But if he can stay upright, I like what they've been able to do. I think they win a nail-biter. like 23-20. So, I take the under because, they miss it by like a point and a half.
Yeah. I honestly think, as good as the wide receiving core is with Cleveland versus Houston, I told you I don't like going into any postseason when you're coming into the postseason on a loss, even if you did sit your players. Because number one, you're coming in with a loss. Number two, your guys have got 2 weeks worth of rest. I think Pags even said it. A lot of times when you have a lot of rest like that, you come in rusty, you come in out of sync. You're trying to catch back up to where you were when you left off. This Houston team is coming in on a whim. C.J. Stroud had a lot of good momentum drives there. The defense had a lot of good momentum. D'Amico's got on point. And it is at home. They're playing in their own home environment. And there's a lot of extra things that are going into that. And I said, man, when a team is hot, a team is hot. And when a team that comes in cold and they try to get hot, I just think there's a lot of time they're lost. And I think that Houston's going to control that game. I really do. But I got to commend Flacco. I got to give a big, salute to Flacco. I mean, the guy's old as hell, came into a team, dry as hell, hadn't played in a while, and yet he really did and has done well with that Cleveland team. Probably better than what Deshaun Watson's done there, honestly.
Oh, I would agree with that 100%. But, like you said, he's older, right? He's 35, and he looks like an old 35 when you watch him out there. So he better already be stretching for this game.
We're definitely getting a lot of ointment put on there before this game, that's for sure.
When I think of Joe Flacco and the way he came back this year, I look at it similar to Vinny Testaverde.
With Dallas. Yeah.
Or Miami. Miami. I think.
Or even with Miami, yeah.
41 years old, trying to get in a playoff game for Miami. I think that Flacco is going to ride off into the sunset after Saturday, after tomorrow. He's going to be done. I think that it's just going to be over, and that the Houston Texans, they're not going to do much after this, but they are going to beat the Cleveland Browns. And I think it's just mostly because they said, I believe that D'Amico Ryans is going to be able to stop that offense.
Yeah.
And that's
one of the things I think about Houston that gets overlooked is Will Anderson Jr., man, on that defensive line at that edge spot. He kind of goes under the radar when you're talking about other teams and their defensive stud makers. And a lot of people don't remember about Will Anderson. Will Anderson has done a great job with that Houston Texans defense, really getting pressure on the quarterbacks and doing what he does there. But I think he kind of gets lost in the shuffle of other Aiden Hutchinsons and things like that.
And the one thing that I feel like that Cleveland does that Houston doesn't do is turn over the ball. Flacco's got 8 interceptions in the limited time he's done. C.J. Stroud for the year's only got 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you look at their running backs. He's had 216 carries and 0 fumbles. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
And that's what I was saying. I mean, the guys like Stroud's got over 4,000 yards, like you said, 23 and 5. And I really think that had he not missed those games with injuries, where would his touchdowns be, his yardage be? I mean, those are damn NFL MVP numbers that I think he would have had he had those couple of extra games that he missed put into that package.
Yeah, he would have been in that MVP conversation for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Easily. So,
which is, like I said, that's just a testament on what Houston has to build going forward. You look at what they're doing this year, where they came from last year. You do a 5-year trajectory. If they keep adding quality players and things like that, building this culture that they're building, this is going to be a hell of a team to deal with, I think, in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, no,
it's not
they're going to be a problem next year. Obviously, I think they overachieved already, so they're playing with house money going into this game. But they're going to be a real problem moving forward.
Absolutely, I agree with you. 100%.
It's cool. Like, you got to feel kind of good for Texans fans because they haven't been great.
And they've done a lot of this though. They've done a lot of this without their top 2 defense or offensive wide receivers out on injury. They've really done it with Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz.
Yeah,
right. Well, I've liked Dalton Schultz.
Well, yeah, I was there with them
He
in
was.
Dallas too. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
tracking.
I mean, he was an Eagle killer with the Cowboys. So
Yep.
I mean, I understood. Like I said, I thought that he was a good tight end and he should have stayed with Dallas, but I guess Dallas didn't want him or didn't like
Well,
him.
Pags, that's the one thing that's interesting to me about Dallas, and not just because I'm a fan, but I will tell you, Jerry Jones has never, ever, ever given the big contracts to tight ends. He just never. That's not one of the positions that he invests in. And I think because he always feels like he can get the next guy, and he has. Think about it. When Witten left, that's when they got Dalton Schultz. When Dalton Schultz left, they got Ferguson, and Ferguson up to this point has done a hell
How
of a
long
good
was
job.
Witten there though?
Oh no, Witten was there for a hot minute. Trust me. So was Jay Novacek and all those guys before them, right? Actually, the one that really wasn't there for a long time was Eric Bjornsson, and I think that was a little bit due to injury. But typically though, he doesn't give the big contracts out to tight ends, and Dalton wanted that big tight end paycheck.
Sure.
And he wasn't going to get it from Jerry.
No, and since you're not going to win a ring there, you can also kind of ring.
Oh,
chase.
ouch. That's just – you have to go that far. I mean, damn. Why don't you say that to Pags? Last time I checked, he didn't win the Super Bowl. He got his ass kicked. Why did you say that to Pags? Why is he got to come to the Cowboys guy?
The thing that's funny is
that's how you know this show is biased. But it's okay. I'm going to write the ship.
So there was this picture before they won their first one. There was this picture of this guy's for I think it's for Halloween. It was an Eagles player, and then his wife came or girlfriend or whatever came as the Lombardi Trophy, and so we were making a ton of fun of it because we're like, oh, we know he's not going home with her, like,
oh.
So
I mean, let's be honest. The only guy that's really got you the Super Bowl was a guy that doesn't even play in the league anymore, and Nick Foles.
He's still getting paid.
He's
still getting paid.
He probably is.
Absolutely. He got a statue.
Yeah, but that was, I ain't gonna lie though. Hey, that Nick Foles led team though, you guys had a great defense. You had a good run game. There was a lot to be said for that Eagles team. And Nick Foles was basically your Trent Dilfer. He didn't have to go outside, try to do anything heroically crazy. He just had to operate within the system, and he did that.
He caught a touchdown pass. What are you talking about?
Like he bowled out.
How many Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks have caught touchdown passes? 0 in the Super Bowl. 0.
We got wide receivers to do that. We got wide receivers running back.
0. Shut your hole. Shut your hole.
I will mute you, but I don't have a mute button.
We also saw Brady drop that same pass. So
I just gave you guys credit, Pags. I'm over here complimenting your team. Why are you going off on me for?
No. It was a really good team, and I mean Foles, to be honest, balled out during that playoff run.
No, he did well. And again, he did. I mean, after that, of course, then he kind of spread around the league. But you guys had a great playoff run that year, no doubt.
He got a ring and a statue. What more do you want?
Hey, I don't know, Keith Hamill. I agree. Right now, you can say that. But you can't say never. I hate people that say never because you know what? Those are the sons of bitches that I hope we get a freaking ring. And I'm gonna.
We used to say never with Romo. How did that work out?
Well, the boy couldn't hold a damn punt or a field goal. Remember that when the field goal came back and he couldn't handle it and he tried to go left.
It was fantastic. I was at that game. That was right in front of me. It was awesome.
I mean, damn. All I can think about is I would like to say laces out, Dan, but the son of a bitch couldn't even hold the ball.
No, right. The thing that's funny is they always highlight that part of the play. The part that they don't highlight is he actually had a pretty good scramble after realizing he was not going to be able to do it. He was about a half a yard from getting the first down.
Yeah,
because they could have still got a first down without scoring. Like he was super close.
But you know what I say about that shoulda, coulda, woulda crap? Nobody cares. If you don't get it, we just don't care.
Actually, we all cared because we got to laugh our
hands off. Dallas, oh my God! Could you imagine if you didn't get by Tampa?
The stadium was electric as soon as that happened.
You better hope.
It was loud. It was amazing.
You better hope and pray you get past Green Bay. Oh my God!
I'm not worried about that.
Green Bay.
Seriously, there's a lot of things I'm worried about. I'm worried about Detroit. I'm not worried about Green Bay. I am worried about Detroit.
Go ahead and look ahead. Go ahead. I love that. Look ahead.
I don't want you to love it. Pax, I want you to be so happy. Because it does no good if I can't bring you back down to reality. So I need you to get as high up as you can. So when I blow up a little bubble there, you come all the way back down.
Well, no, he's not worried about Green Bay. He's worried about the Lions because they might beat Green Bay.
Yeah, I tell you what, don't look past that Lions team. That Lions team really is pretty damn good.
No, they are.
And I didn't think I'd ever say that, but that Lions team is pretty freaking good.
No, they're good.
I really like the play of Aiden Hutchinson right now. Honestly, the guy is playing well.
Before we get to that game,
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm running the show here. All right.
You're such a little control freak.
You know, I feel like the inmates are running.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel like is happening here. So, for this Cleveland Browns Texans game.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah. So, Bo, you choose the Browns.
No, I still have the Texans here. I still have the Texans.
Texans.
I have the
and
Texans.
Under you have, right?
Yeah, I have the Texans and the under.
Okay. Jay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same way Bo did. Texans in the under. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also like the Texans, but I kind of like it a little over that 44.5. I think it's going to be like a 27-20 game. So it's.
Oh, you got a defensive score in there somewhere?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. I can see that.
God, you're such a wussy.
All right.
No, I can
Game
see it.
number
I'm not
2.
thinking that, but I can see it.
Game number 2. The Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs on the cock.
That's right.
4.5 point favorite is the Chiefs, and 43.5 is the over under.
Yeah, I'm still going Chiefs here, just because it's going to be really cold, and there's going to be snow. So I'm going to go Chiefs here, not to cover, but I'm going to take the over. I still think they're going to be able to put up some points because the Dolphins don't play defense, and the Chiefs' defense isn't going to be as good in the weather probably. So. So Chiefs not to cover and the over. So it's a good thing it's on the cock because there's going to be white stuff all over.
White stuff.
I'm talking about snow. What are you guys thinking? Jeez.
I try to stay neutral. Yeah, hey, with me, I'm gonna ride the Dolphins on this one. I just think that Taylor Swift effect is all over Kansas City, and it's ugly.
She's gonna be there though. They play better when she's in the room.
Trust me, I've been down this road before with celebrities and athletes, and it doesn't ever pan out like you think.
Jessica Simpson, right?
Yeah, well, it was just Jessica Simpson. It was Jessica Simpson, and it was also Carrie Underwood. I mean, the guy had a thing for blonde.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was with both of them.
And what did he play? They played like hide and seek for his bachelor party. Is that what they did?
I don't know. They did all kinds of kinky stuff over there. Stuff that Pags you would love probably to have been a part of.
Hey, listen, this is what Romo did on his bachelor party. Played like hide and seek and stuff.
Hey, don't get mad that you wish you were Romo. Just don't even go there. You would have done anything to be Romo at that time. Come on.
Shut your hole.
Come on.
Romo sucked, and you ain't.
Well, you know what? He may suck, but he got more than you got. So just stay over there in your lane, partner.
He doesn't. No, he don't ever get a ring.
Yes, he didn't get a ring, but he got a lot of women. You're over there with your, I don't know, sit above the.
No.
Maybe she got 2 legs, maybe no arms.
Don't talk about me and beautiful women. You've seen the video.
That's true. I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos. Also saw how much you paid for them. It's all good. No worries. I'm kidding. Pags probably does. Hey, look, he's a very, well-recognized individual. I'm not going to go into Pags. But I will say this. I want to go back to what I was saying. I just think that cancer of a celebrity being involved in the sports team, I don't like it. And the fact that now Kelsey's talking about he may or may not come back for next year, that just tells me his heart's not in the game. And when Kelsey's heart is not in the game, I think down goes the Chiefs. So I'm going to go for a lot of those factors. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. They're wanted. They're hungry. Yes, they don't have Chubb. Yes, they don't have Howard. But I don't think that's going to be enough because Tyreek Hill wants to go back and get the damn job done that he said earlier, and he didn't get the job done. Well, I think he wants to go back and actually get the damn job done. I really do. And Waddle and company, I think they got the better running game with Ashney and Mostert. There's a lot going on still within that Miami organization that is focused enough to take out that Kansas City Chiefs team. And I think it will be the jabroni.
Waddle's still hurt though, right? Like he's
playing as far as I know. They haven't said he's not playing.
Yeah, no. I know he's going to play, but it seems like he's not quite right. Like I do like a Kane, right, as the running back, but yeah, Waddle, I believe, is still beat up.
And he doesn't have to go out there and be the superstar. He just has to take some of the pressure off of Tyreek.
Sure.
That's all he has to do. Take the pressure off Tyreek so Tyreek can do the cheetah-like moves, outrun the other cornerbacks, get the ball, and let's keep rolling. Because everybody thinks that Tua can't do the long ball. We all know Tua can do the long ball. And I think now I understand the cold weather, and that does play a factor in how people play. But I'm going to ride Miami on this one, Pags. I'm going to ride it with I don't know what the over-under is on it, but I think they get the win.
44.
44 is the over or the under?
44.5. It's both.
Okay.
Oh, it's 44.5 now.
I don't know if they get that high of a scoring game. I'm looking at more like 17-10, 21-13, something around that neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's just because of the cold weather and stuff.
Tyreek could have a good day if they get him some open field running, right? Because if it is snowy out there, it's hard to correct, right? So if you get a nice cut as the receiver or running back or, whoever ends up with it, but in Tyreek's case, his ability to change direction, that's going to be really hard to stay with him. So he could have a big day for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what the field conditions really are once it becomes game time.
And the other thing about that is that when that gets that cold, that ball becomes a rock.
Yes.
And it's hard to throw. It's a little slick. It's a pain to throw. And I got to imagine that it would be really tough. The one thing that I will say is that, of course, Waddle's got a high ankle sprain. And the last guy I remember with a high ankle sprain in a playoff game happened to be in the Super Bowl. And he went in at halftime. And thank God that halftime show went a little long, because had it not gone a little long, he wouldn't have been able to come out right away for the second half. But he was able to get everything prepared. I remember when I was talking about that, just going back into that halftime show was like 37 minutes. And it was like a whole 42 minutes in between the halftime, from the end of the second quarter to the beginning of the third quarter. And if you took it down minute by minute, you could understand what occurred so that they were able to unwrap that ankle, get all the swelling down, shoot it up, let it sit for 10 minutes so that they can get in there, wrap it back up again, and whatever. And all of that took 37 minutes. That gave him 5 minutes to get out there and warm up in between the second, the first and the second half. Had it been a normal game, he would not have been able to do it like that. He wouldn't have been back until the middle of the third quarter. So, and, listen, the NFL's got the best drugs in the world.
They do.
Which are legal. So it doesn't matter. It's like you could say that he cheated and whatever. They did everything the way they could. He still had to make all the passes. He still had to run. He still had to run.
Absolutely. Yeah. So. And one thing I want you guys to remember, too, with Miami, and it doesn't get talked about a lot, but I'm very familiar with Cedric Wilson Jr. He was a former Cowboy. He was our third option. And I have seen that guy catch a lot of crazy balls. And he's very under the radar. He doesn't get noticed a lot. He's not the Tyreek, fame or whatever. But that guy can get, third down possession type catches. And I would not be surprised if he could be the X factor. And people even forget that Chase Claypool is over there. And I've seen Chase Claypool come down with some good catches. But Chase Claypool has a bad rap for moving around and not being consistent, things like that. But I think those kinds of guys, they can rise up and they can get those catches that you don't expect. So Chase Claypool, Cedric Wilson, I don't want to forget about that team. That Miami team is still kind of deep on the wide receiver aspect side of it.
No, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, Miami's a good team for sure. Honestly, if this was going to be in a normal temperature game without snow, I'd take Miami in this because the Chiefs have not played good offense like most of the year, really. Their defense is balled out. Like their defense is solid, but the offense has struggled, been super inconsistent. Tony's on the roster, so that's a negative. So it's like if it was going to be in any kind of normal temperature, I think it would be fine. It's going to be so cold. There's going to be some wind. There's probably going to be snow. That doesn't generally favor a high passing attack. Which is,
because what do you got, right? You got, like you said, Kadarius Toney, which we all know he can't hold on to the ball for shit. And then you got Kelsey's your number one guy, but what if he gets double teamed? What does that really put you on? What, Sky Moore? Maybe Hardman? And I'm not saying I've seen Hardman make some good catches though. So I'm like, and I've seen Sky Moore make some good catches. But are these the guys you think that are going to get you over that hump?
No, I think what it is that KC defense is going to get home because the guys aren't necessarily going to be able to get open based on field conditions. So
right.
that'll probably be the biggest thing is can Miami's front hold back KC? If they can, then yeah, they definitely could. But Glasses guy needs to be muted.
Well, he does always interrupting and talking over everybody else. he's got the microphone set up really, and that's really annoying. He's a Dallas fan too, so just so that adds the annoyance. So anyway,
let's just win. I'm not saying nothing, but
giving him the sign. You're on that sign language. Is that what it is?
All right.
I'm looking at my hands.
Ultimately, we're going to take Bo. Bo, you're taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs not to cover and the over.
So Chiefs not to cover.
Yep.
So Chiefs money line.
Yep.
Miami with points. Plus 4.5. And the over. The over?
Yeah, the over.
45.
I think there's going to be mistakes in the defense on both sides. Again, because of field conditions. So you're probably going to see some longer plays ripped off just because people can't make cuts on defense.
Gotcha. Okay.
I love snow games. They're fun.
And Jay, what do you got?
No, I got the Dolphins on this one for sure.
All right, so you got Miami over under.
I'm going to go under because of the weather. Hey, real quick, if I can, I just thought about, the one X factor that could be on Cleveland's side versus Houston is the fact that Flacco is paying, or he gets his bonuses off of every win that he gets in the playoffs. So if he can get that $4.5 million, as if he gets, I think, to the Super Bowl, that could be an X factor. People want to play for that money. So I don't know, man. That could be an interesting. See how that all plays out with that aspect.
Yeah, but he can't be like Brown to say, "Hey, listen, I'll give you $100,000 if you fall when I'm close by, so I can get a sack." Just like Strahan asked.
Right.
Just like when Brett Favre goes up to Strahan and says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to roll out. Don't hit me," and that went that. So. Trash man, wait your turn. So I actually have Miami and the under as well. I think, and I'm going like this. Patrick Mahomes has never had an away playoff game, never played in an away playoff game. He's still going to be able to say that at the end of this. I think Miami wins this game, and I think this is a miserable game. I got this game. It's going to be like a 13-12, a 13-9 game. It's going to be very weirdo. But I got, there may be a touchdown. I think it's going to be freezing cold, but I remember last year in Buffalo, Miami gave Buffalo everything that they could handle plus.
Yep.
Yeah, really, I thought Miami should have won that game. I don't really like a Hawaiian quarterback playing on the team in the freezing cold, but I think, like I said, last year he didn't play last year, so it'll be interesting to see if he can hold up. But I like Miami in this one and the under. And the last game before we get over and we'll switch, before we get to the top of the hour, the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Buffalo Bills. The line came down a half a point. It's now at 9.5 points for the Bills, and the over-under is at 34.5.
Oh,
I'm going
so
to
that
start this one. Because you guys talked about it a little bit earlier. So I believe that that the Steelers take a page from the Bill Belichick playbook when it comes to playing the Bills, and they don't throw the ball at all. They run the ball, and they only do like maybe 2 or 3 pass plays. And even if you get down, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. What they got to do, they absolutely, if Pittsburgh has any chance in this game whatsoever, they got to keep the possession. They got to be able to make sure that they can move the chains, and they got to do 7, 8, 10 minute drives. You need 12, 15 play drives between 10 and 15 play drives, and,
yeah,
and just let the clock tick. Go down to 1 second every play. Every play. Wait till the clock gets down to 1 second and then hike the ball. Keep the offense off the field for as long as possible and on the bench. If it's cold there, if you're not playing, you get cold. That all being said, I still think Buffalo wins this game. You know what I mean? I Yeah, but I think that's if Pittsburgh has any chance whatsoever. I mean, you remember that game, right? Everybody remembers the Bills Patriots game. I think it was like a 70-degree mile per hour winds, and it was freezing cold, and Bill Belichick threw the ball 3 times, and he didn't even want to throw it. Like that one time, he said he didn't even want to throw it.
yeah,
That's exactly the same thing I was telling Bo. I think while you were gone, I brought up that game, and I brought up that game specifically to demonstrate that Pittsburgh, as many people are going to push them out and say Buffalo's going to beat them. If it does turn out to be that type of game, like what New England did against them, if Pittsburgh with that really two-headed monster running attack, goes and puts that same game plan into effect, who's to say the outcome wouldn't be the same? That possibly Pittsburgh could walk away with this win and leave everybody in the win saying, I never saw that coming. Well, yeah, you didn't see it coming because you didn't watch and do your history and see that New England did the same damn thing. And everybody had their money bet on Buffalo beating New England, and New England went with the game plan. We're just going to run the ball. We're going to force you to run it or throw it, and we're going to let the chips fall where they may. I mean, it can happen.
no, I
I
mean,
do.
it's possible. Anything's possible. It's the thing. It's the pieces missing on defense is why I don't give them a huge shot at winning this game. But yeah, I mean, anything's possible for sure. But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't see them winning this game. I think the Bills win this going away. This feels like one of that 40-point game, that always happens in Wild Card Weekend. This one seems like it could be that. Obviously, the wind will be an issue, but I still think the Bills win this going away.
Yeah,
So
I think that even with all that, they just can't. TJ Watt is such a big deal on that offense or defense. I mean, and he can take over a game on that defensive line. And I remember last year when he was hurt for half the season. Nobody thought that they all thought last year that the Steelers weren't going to be able to do that, be able to come back to a 500 record, and ultimately, he was able to come back, and that defense literally turned around, and then what was it last year? Was it last year or 2 years ago that had they played for a tie, they could have Pittsburgh would have been out, but because San Diego or LA called the
Staley.
timeout, the Raiders wound up doing it. So I think that was 2 years ago, and Pittsburgh wound up in. Same situation happened this year. Jaguars stink, and
Jags,
next thing you know,
Steelers sneak in. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right. So like I said, I think the only chance the Steelers have is to literally hold the ball forever. But if they can't do that, it's and I don't think they will. I think that ultimately the Bills, because that's what I see happening. That the Steelers hold the ball for 10 minutes and the Bills score in 4. The Steelers hold the ball for 6 minutes, the Bills score in 4. And it's the other thing is that you have to put it in the end zone. You can't kick field goals. So, I mean, ultimately, it's going to be a challenge in general.
And that game is a Sunday game, correct?
That is
Sunday at 1.
Game. Yeah.
So that means it's almost going to be close to the exact same situation as what New England played against them, because it's talking about 60% chance of snow, which tells me it's going to be, and it's also talking about 70% chance of snow on Saturday and 80% today. So that tells me that's going to be snow they're going to be playing in the snow.
100%.
They'll be playing in cold weather. I don't see the winds on here. It didn't forecast the winds on here, but I don't know, man. My gut's telling me this is another New England situation, and for that reason, I'm rolling Steelers. I'm gonna roll Steelers on that one, and I'm gonna roll the dice on that one.
That would be a big upset. That'd be a big upset.
That would be a big upset. To go, what do I look at for the win there for Sunday? Sunday day, it's a high of 27, so it's going to be 1 to 3 inches that happen between, so it's going to be about 3 inches. The real feel high is going to be about 2 degrees. Wow. The average wind, 33 miles per hour with gusts up to 66 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's big lake effect too.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, like they could have almost blizzard conditions if that goes right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, because I remember when I lived in Sheboygan, I was about 50 yards off of Lake Michigan, and I know how those lake effects are harsh. So if you have lake effect winds plus snow, that's a perfect New England Buffalo game, and I just know how that game turned out, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I'm at least 60 or 40 or 45%. My guts just tell me Steelers. We'll see what happens.
I mean, hey, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take the points. I don't think the Steelers are going to do much anything. The over/under that's where it's a problem, because the wind will definitely play a factor. So
no field goals. That's what that takes away.
Exactly.
33 mile per hour winds takes away field goals, unless it's north-south, and that's the way the field's going. If it's east-west, forget about it.
True.
And the hard part about that is that it's saying east-southeast. So
it'd be cross. Yeah, I mean diagonal. You're still not kicking, at least not effectively.
No, absolutely.
You'll probably miss extra points in that kind of way. So, originally I was going to take the over, but I think I'm going to take the under here, just because if the wind really is what they're saying, it's going to come down to running games. That being said, I'll still take the Bills and the points. I don't trust Mason Rudolph to be able to do anything. I don't trust the defense to stop anything. So I think it could be like a 17-7 kind of game.
See, there you go. You're thinking about it wrong.
No, I think that wrong. I think they get one field goal that actually works, or actually it'll be like a 16 because they'll miss an extra point.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're going to wind up having to go for 2.
Yeah,
in certain places. So I kind of look at it as, still 14 points where they make 1 2-point conversion, miss 1 2-point conversion, and that this is just going to be, when it's windy like that. Though windy is kind of funny. It's just like if
it's sustained, it's not as bad. It's the gusts that are a problem, Because if it's
Yeah.
sustained, you can actually kind of just lean into the wind. You're like, okay, I know what it is. But when it's gusty, you're like, okay, I'm going to lean into this. And then it dies for a second. You're like, cool. I just threw that in the stands.
Yeah, I kind of look at this as so Jay, you said Pittsburgh and under.
Yeah, and I'm saying that only because of the weather, man. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game at all.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, just so that you're aware, you picked 3 unders.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
you also picked 3 dogs. 3 dogs, 3 unders, Jay, just so
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah,
aware.
I'm tracking that.
You know, I could take Buffalo on the money line. I think that they don't cover. I would take Pittsburgh with the points. You know, the Pittsburgh plus the 9.5. And I got it also in the under here. I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be like a 14-6 game. You know, it's just that it may
Yeah.
wind up being a 14-12 game where they got to get the 2-point conversion and miss at the very end. Or it could be like a 22-14 game, which would make it go over, obviously, because it's 36 points. But I think that it's only touchdowns that are scored. They don't have extra points. They don't have. Yeah, they're going to have to go 2-point conversion. They're not going to be able to have the field goals. The possession here is going to be big. If you have to punt the ball and that ball's cold and the wind catches it, you could wind up changing the whole field possession, which would be a great thing to see. So
every punt will be a line drive.
Yeah,
like
I think
nobody's locked in and thing. Like it's going to be a line drive every time you got to punt.
I'll tell you, if you guys are out there betting, go with Pags. I'm just going with my gut, you know, and my gut could be wrong. But in some of these games, I'm really just kind of going with the way my gut feels. And I remember that New England game, and in the Houston game, I know Houston's the underdog, but for certain reasons, I mean, I just feel like Houston's got a lot of going for themselves. So I'm really going with my gut.
I have the Texans too.
Yeah,
I have Miami as well. You know what I mean? But I have Buffalo. I have the one favorite there. I feel like Saturday games are dog games. Sunday games are favorite games. So it's like.
But I gotta tell you, Pags, if the weather wasn't the way that it is, I would definitely go Bills. But I did really remember that damn New England game and the way it turned out.
That's why I brought it up.
Like it favors
That's exactly why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, we are at the top of the hour. We have to stop for a station identification break. We will be back in 2 minutes with the second hour of Coast to Coast. See you in a second. I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get it each.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Supporting the needs of our veterans. That's the goal of all of us at Team AmVets. Like Mitch, Carlos, and Kevin from our Welcome Home team that brings furniture to our vets.
We are Team AmVets.
Or Linda from our thrift stores who brings you great bargains every day.
I am Team AmVets.
and John, who picks up your thrift store donations that support California veterans programs.
I am Team AmVets.
Visit our website or a Team AmVets thrift store to donate or shop today.
Join the team!
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
And we are back for the second hour of Coast to Coast. Thank you there, Wen. I appreciate it. Even you, glasses guy. Yeah, he's hey, he said he loved you. He's showing some
I know,
love
West
there.
Coast. It's okay. Look, we don't point. Okay, Jay, it's your turn to talk. It's your turn to talk. So sometimes I just don't have it synchronized right, and I kind of anyway. Hey, real quick though, I do want to point out 65-mile-an-hour gusts to you, Bo, because I know you were talking about if it's gusts, this 65-mile-an-hour winter storm. Jesus, this is gonna be a hell of a. I'm telling you, it's got New England written all over it. I'm just gonna let you know.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun watch. I'm glad I'm not in the stands because,
Me
cold
too.
I don't mind. The wind is
Me
no
too.
joke.
A foot of snow, they're probably taking like what are those things they call, Bo, that go through the snow, the little not snow pop, but snow skis or jet skis or whatever the fuck. Yeah, there you go. They're taking those things to the game.
Toboggans.
Yeah, they're taking toboggans to the game.
You know what? You know what helps with the wind a lot? Vaseline. I tell you, this is one. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. It's absolutely true.
Hey, it was cold here the other day, Pags, and my wife's like, "Hey, you need a coat?" I said, "No, babe, go get me that damn Vaseline. I'm gonna put this Pags crap to work."
I just like that you put Vaseline in every show. Are you like sponsored by Vicks, or you just like into some stuff?
Nah, I'm trying to. Hey, listen, I'm trying to plug anything we can so that we can get the sponsors and say like, hey, if you want to be warm from the wind, Vaseline intensive care.
I know you're trying to plug anything. You're bringing up Vaseline nonstop.
Hey, bro, but I thought it was kind of funny. The pastor said, "Excuse me, the guy in the third row, his skin seems to be glistening way too much. It was distracting me."
Well, I mean, you were going to be the man, so I guess there's that.
I tell you, and I'll be honest, if I knew I was going to a game like that, I've already tried to mix the color with Vaseline so that I would be able to, like windy days. It hasn't yet.
Yeah, okay.
So I've been trying though. I have been trying. As ridiculous as that sounds, sounds kind of funny to try to talk it like that. But so here's a game I'm sure that we're going to talk about for a few minutes. This is a game I'm sure we're going to talk about for a few minutes. The Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys. The over-under has remained this thing at 50.5. The line has come down. It has gone down to 7 now. So things that I think that could be a big deal here. Obviously, Gilmore's questionable. Do you think he plays?
Yes. If it said doubtful, then I'd probably say no. I look at it like this. If you're listed as questionable and it's a playoff game and he's a competitor, that dude's playing.
Absolutely.
That dude's playing.
All right. So it says he was back at practice on Thursday. He had limited practice. So, okay. I mean, I know that that's going to be a big deal. They had an offensive lineman, Jenkins, also questionable. You know, looking at him, he missed practice on Thursday. That's Jenkins. That's for Green Bay. My bad.
That name didn't recognize with the Cowboys, but
yeah, it's Hankins is questionable with his ankle.
Okay.
You know, but I figure Gilmore is the big one there. I thought there was an offensive lineman who was out too, but maybe or not out.
Now you may be thinking of Tyler Smith. Now, Tyler Smith is an offensive lineman for the Cowboys.
He's questionable. That's it.
Yeah, he's questionable.
With the foot. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had limited practice Wednesday. They didn't say whether he was that he practiced on Thursday or not. So
that dude's playing. I'm telling you right now. That's like he's our young guy that we got in last year's draft in the first round. I promise you, he's playing. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did go down. I think we see TJ Bass, and I'm okay having Bass come in because Bass has done pretty well when he has had to substitute because Tyler has gone down a couple of times during the season. So even if Tyler, Smith goes down, I'm okay with Bass coming in, and I don't think it's going to affect us too much, right?
Oh wow, Green Bay's
Now
injury.
Gilmore, that on the back end of that might be a little bit more. I'd be more concerned about Gilmore than I am Tyler Smith, honestly.
Yeah. No, Green Bay's injury report's actually really long.
Yeah. So Keith put this up here a little bit ago. I wanted to bring it up now. Green Bay is 9-1 in the last 10 games against Dallas, and that is actually a real stat. Now,
Yeah.
It's one of those situations that, as I think about that, it's Green Bay has had Dallas's number, and sometimes having the number is just about getting in the other team's head a little bit here.
But Pags, it's also very skewed.
Yeah, of course.
It's no. What I'm saying is it's skewed in the fact that Aaron Rodgers was the part of that 9-1. It wasn't Jordan Love. So let's make sure we understand that we're talking Aaron Rodgers led Packers and not Jordan Love led Packers, and understand that Dallas is undefeated at home. I'm just saying that's a skewed stat. You can't really use that stat because it's not the same quarterback.
Absolutely, and we're not talking about it like that. Obviously, it's definitely a couple of different things there. Because I got to imagine, even going back 10-1, that 9 of the last 10 games, that may even include a game or two of Brett Favre.
For sure. Yeah.
So, absolutely.
It's not like you play each year.
Exactly.
Although Green Bay, let's face it, every time that you guys shared first place together, the following year you guys did play. So you probably played a good 7, 8, 9 times probably with Aaron Rodgers, where he was saying that he owns Dallas just like he owns Chicago, where Jordan Love hasn't had the opportunity to own anybody yet, but he may.
Oh
after this
man,
weekend.
Jordan Love can own these nuts.
Because I tell you, if Jordan Love by chance happens to win this game against Dallas, he's going to be getting gift baskets. If he has a charity, all of Philadelphia is going to be donating to that charity.
You're right.
Sure. And nothing against Dallas or anything like that. 'Cause that is my team, but I don't. And I'm just being realistic. I don't think the Eagles are thinking Dallas in any way, shape, or form. I think what the Eagles are thinking of: let's get this momentum builder on Tampa, and then let's get prepared to go to war.
I'm talking about the fans of Philly. I'm not talking about the Eagles themselves.
Oh yeah. Okay,
fans of Philadelphia. The fans of Philly would go, and they would all of a sudden Jordan Love's charity would make
they hate us.
$100 million because they're going to do all that. So here's what I will say about Green Bay. They are the youngest team. They are playing with house money. They were a surprise to be there. So my expectation is that they are going to be balling out there. They're going to take the chances. They're going to risk it. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough firepower. I really don't. I'd love, as much as I love to say that I want Green Bay to win and think like that. Now that they took away the extra hook, I think that it's probably a push. So on this, rather than maybe a straight out loss, I thought the extra hook may have made a difference. I still kind of feel like it's going to be a one possession game that, whoever has the ball last could possibly win this game. I don't know. I kind of feel like there are certain times when Dallas, as you said yesterday, Bo, plays with their food. Yeah. I really like that analogy there, that sometimes they just don't put it away when they should.
Yep.
And if you leave this team in it and they have the ball with like 1 minute and 37 seconds left and only down 6 points, I think there's a real good chance you could wind up losing by a point. That being said, I don't see it. I kind of think that it's going to be the opposite way, where that Green Bay is going to be up by a point, and Dallas is going to have like 2 minutes and 27 seconds to go down the field and kick a field goal if they want to, or score a touchdown. And I think actually what will happen is they'll score that touchdown and then ultimately go for the 2-point conversion and miss it. But there's only going to be like 26 seconds left. And that's how the game's going to end. It's going to be like a 5-point game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's ridiculous that it sounds that I'm that integral about it, but I kind of feel that that's what it's going to be, that it's that I have it at 30, like 32 to 26. 25.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
that's crazy. That's crazy. Interestingly enough, they don't have a damn receiver one that's even come close to 800 yards. Not one receiver has come close to 800 yards. Their tight end is 50 yards under 400. Tells me they're not using their tight end. Well, that tells me a couple of things. It tells me that Christian Watson only has 422 yards.
They played like trash in the beginning of the year, though.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to tell you. Christian Watson has 422 yards. Their fastest guy on the team has 422 yards. He's questionable, by the way. So is Romeo Dobbs is questionable, by the way, which means they're dealing with some sort of lingering issue. Jaden Reed, their third wideout, has the most yards at a little over 700. Romeo Dobbs is running a little over 600. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to stick Gilmore on Dobbs. I'm going to put Bland on Reed, and I'm going to put everything I have. I'm going to let the safeties deal with Christian Watson. And I don't think there's a chance in hell that they can get past our run defense. I know a lot of people are going to disrespect the Cowboys like they always have, and Pags is clearly disrespecting the Cowboys with the score that he's put. Pags, I understand that's your score, but I think that's put a lot of disrespect on the Cowboys defense and Dan Quinn. And it's okay. A lot of people do that. But if you look at what it really is, and you break it down for what it really is, it's not going to be as close a game as Pags thinks it's going to be. Unless Dallas somehow takes on some kind of crazy injuries on their defense or offense, I fully expect the Dallas Cowboys to control this game. It's in their establishment. They haven't lost there. And I think it's going to be at least a 2-score differential. Dallas takes it. And I don't even think that's being a Cowboy fan saying that. I think that's just being a guy looking at the stats and calling it for what it is.
Sure.
So, you know what? I revert back to the Seattle game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reverting back to. So, and I'm going to let you talk, Bo, before I go ahead, because I wanted to bring that up because I didn't think Seattle had that great of an offense, and they were able to move the ball. And when we were there, and when the Eagles were there,
you can't say they don't have an offense. I mean, they got 3 tremendous, talented wide receivers.
No, what we didn't have is an offensive line, though. Because the
if you want to go that route, then yeah, okay. If you want to go that route, totally.
Yeah, no, like Seattle lost their desired starting 5 halfway through the first game of the year. So I mean, like they've been putting that front line together with duct tape and zip ties the whole year. So I mean, but they do absolutely have dynamic receivers. So I mean, there's no getting around that. But I kind of feel like this is going to be a closer game. I got the Cowboys winning it outright, but I don't have them to cover, even still with that hook coming off. I think this is a 3 or 4 point game, but I'm taking the over. But it's
okay. I'm going to come back and remind both of you guys when this is all said and done. It's okay. I mean, and if that's what you really believe, that's what you really believe. And hell, it may be me eating the humble pie at the end of this. Who knows? I just don't think it's going to happen that way.
That's the thing is you guys have played at home so differently, right? Like you've either blown people out or it's been the Seattle or Lions games, right? So it's either been like
but the Lions aren't the Packers, and you know that. The Lions are way better than the Packers.
No, I don't think the Packers are as good as either one of the teams that I listed. But that being said, it's playoff time, right? So everybody's going to come with as much heat as they can.
So was Seattle. So was Seattle in that mix. They played on Sunday. They played on Thursday at Thanksgiving, and then the following Thursday. So you can't use that as the excuse. Either 3 games in 13 days, because that's what it was. It was 3 games in 13 days.
Seattle had the same schedule.
Same exact schedule. So you can't use that as the excuse, Joe.
exactly.
But we did win, so who cares?
You did win. But it went. You guys were scared that
But we
game.
did win.
You were
I don't
absolutely
care.
scared. You were right. You were absolutely scared in that game.
Well,
And I think that this is what happens here.
I
I think
was
that you guys will be
mildly,
scared
as my
again.
wife says, I was not scared. I was mildly concerned.
Right. But it was a close game, right? It wouldn't have hit this coverage.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I just don't pick you guys to cover. I do think you win though.
So all right. So I right now we have.
Oh, here
Jay.
comes Bo's mother. Green Bay all the way.
Jay's got Dallas.
Green Bay, I love
over
you.
or under, Jay.
She's a Green Bay.
I'm gonna go over. I think this. It's in Dallas. It's not like you're dealing with weather or anything like that. They do have two really good scoring offenses, so I'm gonna go over absolutely. But Dallas.
Yeah, and I also took the over there.
So and you got Green Bay value with the points.
Yeah, I got Green Bay with the points, Cowboy money line, and the over.
And I also have the exact same thing you have. I have Dallas money line, Green Bay with the points, and then also the over. I think the over is the one thing that we can all agree here. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure. And this is, to your credit, like it absolutely could be a beatdown, right? Like it could go that route because you have a defense that can make this thing turn around. So, I mean, if you get one of those pick sixes or something like that, changes the dynamic of this game altogether. So, I mean, the opportunity for you guys to have an absolute beatdown here is there. I just don't think it happens this time around.
But I do want to point one thing out, and this is me being a realistic Cowboys fan. Is typically Dallas, does one of two things. Sometimes, and I think the San Francisco playoff game really pointed that out, is either A, we commit way more penalties than what we can afford, and we shoot ourselves in the foot. That would be the only concern to me, and that and turnovers, right? As long as if Dak limits the turnovers and they don't commit stupid penalties, which we know Dallas has always done, is create stupid penalties. Like I said, the San Francisco game was
especially in the playoffs.
Tremendous. You know what I mean? If we do those two things, I firmly believe Dallas will beat Green Bay with no problem. Yeah. But penalties have always, for some reason, Dallas will just accumulate stupid false starts, offsides. I mean, just stupid little things. We delay of games. I can't tell you how many times.
All of a sudden, you're coming out.
And it's frustrating. Yeah, as a Cowboys fan, I'm watching the San Francisco game, and I'm like, God, we can beat these people. We can beat them, but we're killing ourselves with 10 penalties before halftime. Like, how do you win a game like that?
Now you're just talking about your team coming out and pulling an Amber Heard. What are we doing?
Well, what are we doing, Bo? What are we doing?
So I was hoping to see if they were going to.
You put me back on that one.
I was looking to see if they were going to announce the referees yet for the games. They have not, because I just got something from NFL Communications. They were just talking about the games next year. I mean, in terms of who we're playing and such, because the NFC South, the NFC North or East is going to be playing the NFC North. I just saw it. I see what I read. I read and then I got over it pretty quick. The NFC plays the NFC South, the AFC North, and that the 17th game is the AFC South. So,
I do want to say though, and I think Frankie pointed it out yesterday, that it just seems odd enough that the NFL playoff matchups for this wild card, it does seem to have a little WWE script in it, because there's so many storylines between all of these teams that are going against each other. It's almost like the NFL wants to create this, hyped up stuff of, I don't know, it's weird, it's crazy. But now that when Frankie started pointing out, I was like, you know what, you're right. There's a lot of damn storylines.
There is. Like an unusually, I can't talk today. I don't know.
An unusual amount. An unusual amount.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, that's why they're an entertainment and not, a sports.
That's right.
Game number 2, the 8 o'clock game on Sunday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams travel to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. The Lions are a 3-point favorite, and it's 51.5. Matt Stafford versus Jared Goff. Sounds so ridiculous to think that it's the Rams versus the Lions, and that's Rams with Stafford and Goff with the Lions. But there you have it.
This
Not
might be
letting
one of the better
Stafford
games of the week.
jerseys in. They're not letting Stafford jerseys in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, honestly, this might be one of the better games of the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know, the Rams are a good team and they're healthy, right? So we don't have to worry about their depth issue because all of their starters are starting. I still think Detroit gets this at home, but yeah, I mean, this one's going to be a battle all game. Lions get it done. They have a lot more. It's more important to them, I would think, trying to win their first home playoff game in 30 years. So I think this means more to the Lions, which, let's be honest, can change the outcome of game, right? The team that wants it more. So I'm going to go Lions win here. I'm going to go with they don't cover, even though it's only 3 points. So I think this one can be like a 1-point game, 2-point game, something like that. And but I'm still going to take the over. Both these teams will put up some points.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely agree with Bo on. This is clearly going to be an over game, and that's not even a hard thing to say. That's an obvious thing. Bo, this is one of the better games because of the storyline. Which quarterback has the bigger chip?
Sure. Well, that's Goff.
Bo, I bet you. I don't even have to even tell you. I already know who the bigger chip is. You know it's Goff. Everybody knows.
Of course.
So it comes down to. But I will say this: the one thing that makes me want to take it back and not say the Lions indefinitely are going to win this game is because I honestly believe Laporta is not playing this game. There will be no Sam Laporta on the field when they take.
It's possible.
So that's a huge thing. That's a huge because now you got to heavily rely on St. Brown to really pull you through on the passing game. You do have the option to put in Gibbs, which is a good pass catching running back, which could take the place of Laporta in those shallow routes to be the security blanket that Laporta was providing to Goff.
Laporta's practicing today.
What's that?
Laporta's practicing today.
Yeah.
Okay, he can practice all he wants. And that's actually a good thing. I mean, no, seriously, I think that's good. And I hope he does get on the field because the last thing I read was they were leaning to him. Last I read about Laporta, they were leaning to him not playing. So the fact that he's practicing is a good thing. And I hope Laporta is on the field because I want to see the best of the best. Nobody wants to see a half-assed team go out there. Nobody wants to see that.
No, exactly.
Well, but it goes the exact same way the other way. Higbee is questionable with a shoulder injury for the Rams.
Yeah.
So I
don't know, man. They got Higbee. I mean, they got Atwell, Nakua, and Cup. They still got 3 viable receiving threats out there. Was Detroit has what? Laporta, if he's there, St. Brown, and then you maybe have Gibbs out of the backfield. They don't have as many receiving targets as what St. Louis, the LA Rams are going to bring to the table. That's the only thing. But I am going to give my little quick spiel. Detroit, that's who I got. I think it's over. I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm not going to go against them because I've seen what they did against Dallas. And if Laporta, from what Pags is saying, is practicing, if he's practicing, I believe he's going to be on the field. I don't think he practices and not be on the field. So I'm going to say that at this point, based on what Pags just said, he's going to be on the field. And because of that, then I am going to roll with Detroit because I think Aiden Hutchinson is the deal. Not that Aaron Donaldson's not, but Aiden Hutchinson is crazy. And Johnson in the backfield and that secondary is crazy. So I'm going to go with Detroit on that one.
Yeah.
So
on the over.
I also like Detroit. However, I don't believe it's going to be an over. And that makes me nervous on whether it's Detroit. I think it's going to be an under. I think the defense is going to be a lot stronger on both sides of the ball here. And that's what's going to cause this to go under. That it's going to be maybe, kind of, almost similar to the national championship. I kind of feel like in the fourth quarter, you're going to see a team pull away, and it could be either team. But I got Detroit. I'm picking Detroit probably a little bit with my heart here because I really want this for the Detroit fans. I know that when LA won the Super Bowl, they showed the tens of people out in running the streets. You know what I mean? They showed like one city block where there was like 8 people just kind of going excited and stuff like that. And I think Detroit is just due. I feel like they're just due. And the storyline writes itself here. I feel that Detroit winning this game, and they don't care if they win this game 2-0. That this would be, they're going to be nervous throughout the entire game. But I feel that Detroit is actually going to, slay the dragon or, knock the monkey off their back or kill the elephant in the room and win a playoff game for the first time since the birth of Christ.
One thing. Detroit gives up on average 23 points to the opponent. So the opponent on average scores 23 points.
Sure.
If you look at the Rams, they typically score more than 25 points a game. So I don't know how you're not going with the over on that based on what historically has happened.
Actually, the Rams score 23.8 points a game.
Yep. 23.8. And the
right, so 23 and 20, that's what 40. That's 46 points. If you look at
23.8 and 27.1 equal 50.9, which really would still be an under at the 51.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Just so that you know. Just so that you know. I mean, we're just going
that's
with
why I don't bet. Okay, I
got you. Yeah. No, I was looking at the same stats.
You know what, Bo? And I thought about betting, but I would never, and I must stick by this. I will never make a bet in my life before I talk to Pags. I'm going to talk to Pags. But I guess I don't, there's so much science in betting. Like you said, you got systems. I don't even have a system. I don't know what a system is.
Hey, listen, I only have system for basketball. That's it. And my system
you have a system for football?
My system is as basic as can be. My system for football is don't bet.
All right.
You know what? The truth of the matter is that now that they've got these in-game parlays, we'll talk about this at another time when we have nothing really to talk about. Maybe early, middle of the week next week. But I firmly believe that with these in-game parlays, they have made gambling look a lot more easier to get. You've been seeing a lot of these guys do 15-leg parlays that bet $5 and win $250,000. Hey, listen, if it was that easy, we'd be seeing it all the time. There's always one. When 250,000 people are doing it, there's always going to be one that does hit. But the reason why they don't mind paying off that one and announcing it to the world because all the other ones lost.
Cover it. They more than cover it.
And if it was that easy,
and then some.
If it was that easy, they wouldn't allow you to bet the parlays anyway.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
same game parlays.
They'll pay out for one, but like Pag said, they made so much money on everybody else that one little is nothing to them. It's almost like a tax write-off, if anything.
I mean, that's gambling in general.
It's a license to print money.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's exactly.
Pretty much.
So, all right, and now the final game of the weekend or the early of next week, the final super wild card game. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. It is the Eagles are a 3-point favorite.
Yep.
And the over-under is 43.5.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm going to, because of the rain, I'm actually going to take the Eagles here. So I had been on Tampa Bay doing the upset, but I think if it's going to rain that hard, that kind of doesn't help Tampa win this game. So I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to take the points. I thought it was going to be a field goal game either way anyway. But I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under. If the rain's going to be that bad, the passing game is going to be horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Number one, I'm going to take the Eagles, and I am taking the under, pretty much for the reasons that Bo just stated, so I'm not going to restate that. But, it's always interesting about the Eagles. There's no way. I got to look at Murphy's Law, right? There's no way. I just can't see them losing to 3 teams like that shouldn't be there. So for those reasons, I do think this is the bounce back game for the Eagles to right the ship. And everybody knows that when you go into playoffs, everybody steps up their game. And I do expect the Eagles to step up their game and get past this team. And I think they're going to face their demons when they get to San Francisco, and that's going to be a whole other topic of discussion. But for right now, I really expect them to beat the Tampa. And if they didn't beat Tampa, that would be the hugest upset in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would be the hugest upset because of the way that they've played going into this. I look at this as, I think it is a get-right game. I feel that, it's funny. Before I got on here, I watched, I watched New Heights, just to kind of, just to see what, Jason was saying about, this past game and such. And, and he said the right things. He was like, yeah, we had our guys. We wanted to go out there with a little bit better momentum, and it just didn't work out. It was an ugly game, blah, blah, blah. We don't know if anybody wanted to get hurt or do whatever. I felt that kind of funny. I was like, you're touting the company line here. And then I watched the hype video that the Eagles put out. And, of course, Jason Kelsey was the one doing the talking there, too. And I'm like, you know what? Out of all the people that need to have a very, very good game, Jason Kelsey's got to have one. You know what I mean? He's not been playing great lately. And I feel like, I'll be honest, I feel like the team goes as well as he goes. So I need him to have a very good game. I'm not necessarily concerned about A.J. Brown and how his knee is. I'm not concerned about the ankle with Smith. I know that he's going to play. He's a gamer. He's going to be out there. The defense is going to be back out there. You've got Slay that's going to be on a few days, a few weeks of rest now. He's going to be back and ready to go. Maddox has gotten his legs back under him again, so he should be ready to go. I believe that this is going to be a smackdown of epic proportions. I think that the defense has, if you believe anybody when they're saying, when you said Ocho Cinco said they're playing possum, and then a couple other people said that they're playing possum. I don't believe possum's the right answer there. I don't think that that's the case. But I feel that they have kind of, it's been a farce. It's been a farce that they have taken out the preseason book, and they have played with the preseason book for the last 3 weeks, and just not to show anything. And ultimately, I kind of feel that this playbook is going to be back open to normal again. And if it is raining, I think the running game is going to play the big part in this. I expect us to have over 200 yards rushing. That's going to be the big, big deal. So, yep, Chris, we announced that earlier. We know.
Yeah,
Question. Angel Garcia, though, I want to go back to that real quick, Bags, since we're talking about the Philadelphia game. Angel Garcia puts in the comments that A.J. Brown has deactivated his Twitter account and deleted all things Eagles. Is that going to be an issue, do you think? Where's the issue now with that? Again, we were talking about a fractured locker room a couple of episodes back. Now you got A.J. Brown deleting all of his stuff Eagles related. What do you make of that?
So when I go to take a look at the news on A.J. Brown, it says nothing about that. And is it on his Twitter, on his Instagram, on both?
Yeah, it talks about Twitter and Instagram. According to Mr. Garcia, he's talking about off of his Instagram page. Deleted all Eagles media off of his Instagram page.
So let me see.
And has deactivated his Twitter. Now, deactivating the Twitter doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot. But the fact that he took everything Eagles related off of his
So
Instagram.
I go there. So I'm on. All right, let me see, because AJ Brown.
Yeah, I mean he did. It just says athlete, right? So, and then he
I'm
just
ask you, do you think there's anything to read into that, or is that just?
I don't. Does he have a contract coming up? Is that what the deal is?
No, he's still under contract.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. So
What do they say? For every cockroach you find, there's a million more you didn't find. I just wonder if it goes back to that fractured locker room. Is there issues within that locker room that maybe, even though it may have him delete the stuff because he doesn't? Do you think there's anything in that locker room that is perpetuating him to want to do that?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
So I feel like that this may be, again, a little bit of something like gamesmanship. Like, oh, let's worry about this for a minute. Oh, he's not going to feel right, whatever. I think it's nothing. I really do believe it's nothing. So
I mean, none of us know, but it does. But you got to admit, none of us are going to know the real answer to that. But it does make you think, though, that what we do know is in the past there has been issues about the Eagles locker room, and now that he's doing this, I'm not saying that it's because we don't know, but it does raise a red flag. Pags, to me, it raises a red flag, though. Even though we don't know what the issue is, there's still a red flag that raises. If he's in, it just, I don't know, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, the timing's not great. Even if there isn't an issue, like it. On the other end, I guess, maybe it's a distraction for the other team. I can't imagine why it would be, but maybe it's some gamesmanship in that way. But I mean, it seems like it's not a helpful situation, right? It seems like you should kind of be ignoring your social media accounts at this point and getting ready for tomorrow or Monday, I should.
And that's my point. It's like, why would you want to do anything on your social media? Because everybody watches social media like a hawk. Why would you put anything on social media that could cause controversy within not only yourself, your teams, and things around it? I mean, you should be doing everything you can to pump up your team and get ready for this playoff push and not take away from it.
Yeah, because even if you're not happy, you're 4 games away, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, even if I'm unhappy in my situation, I'm going to, buckle down for 4 games, right? Because I want to win. Yeah. Even if I'm leaving, even if I'm going to force my way off a team or whatever kind of weird things are about to happen, I want a championship.
I mean, this is stuff you do in the off season, right?
Here you go. He does this during the playoffs to focus. Literally said it in an interview.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So this is something that's
they have to report it. They have to report it, obviously.
Right.
I don't remember him doing it last year, but it's. I guess it's his way to focus.
And I'm not mad at that. Like that 100% is a real thing.
100%. Like, because I mean, obviously, the first thing I see when I go up is that. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it because it's right in front of here, and whatever. So it says AJ Brown has deleted all Eagles posts on his Instagram. He didn't delete all his Eagles posts. He deleted all the posts.
Yeah.
So if it was Eagles or if it wasn't Eagles, he doesn't have other things showing. Like, hey, here's me eating a donut. You know what I mean? That's not on there. He deleted all the posts. So it's not like it's. I'm not really worried about stuff like that. And especially somebody who's like, listen, there's a piece of me that believes that the Kelsey brothers shouldn't be doing their podcast the week of the playoffs. Now, They did it all year last year, where every Wednesday, so they did it all, including at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a problem. You got to switch gears and say, hey, look, bro, you're my family. But right now for this week, we at war. and we ain't associating. Let's start getting. And after the Super Bowl's over with, whoever wins, okay, great. I'll come congratulate you because you're my brother and I love you. But for that week, F you. You are my mortal enemy right now until after the playoffs. Playoffs.
I don't know that it goes that way because he roots for him. I mean, they root for each other. They wanted to see each other in the Super Bowl.
That's not what I want.
After the NFC Championship game, Jason Kelsey went over to Chicky and Pete's, which is a local establishment here, and put on a Chiefs sweatshirt.
Oh, hell no. See, you won't see no cowboy doing that shit.
Actually, that's not true.
It is true. You tell me one.
Get the frig out of here. If your brother is playing on another team,
I don't care.
You know what?
Right now, he's
Diggs did it with Buffalo. Diggs did it with Buffalo.
That's why you lost.
Diggs did it with Buffalo. Yeah, that's right. Keep yelling all you want. Diggs did it with Buffalo and was rooting for his brother in the game.
Absolutely.
So don't tell me he wasn't.
Did he lose? But did he lose? I mean, I'm not putting an opponent's
Cowboys
jersey on my shirt when I play for another team. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm built differently than where you are out there in Philadelphia. But out here in Texas, we don't do that shit. We never done that shit.
Except you did.
You have to do that. You do that because you're a bandwagon fan. You're a bandwagon fan from Houston. You're a bandwagon fan on Dallas Cowboys from Houston. Don't get yelling, bop, 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 bop. That's right. We can't hear you. You're muted. Now you're on. You're on. I got you unmuted.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you a question, Pat.
Hold on.
I'm going to go across the board because I want to find out what the demographic is because we never did this when we formed this show. I just want to find out what the demographic is age-wise. I'm 51. I was born in 72, Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Okay.
Max, when were you born? What's your age? Just give me your age.
I'm 51.
Shit, what month?
What month are you?
No, I'm September. You probably got me beat.
No, actually, you're older than I am.
Damn right I am. Now be quiet.
What's the date? September what?
September 20th, 72.
I'm October 20th, 72.
Got you about 1 month. Have a nice day.
1 month. 30
hey,
days.
Bo. Now you're clearly, even though I know you got a little gray in the beard, I know for a fact you are not 50. You are definitely under that. So what is your age?
I'm 42. I am 42.
You look good for 42. No, I'm serious. You look good for 42.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, you never served in the military. You look about 30 years older.
Yeah, I'm an 80s kid, so 81.
Hey, nothing wrong being an 80s kid. I love the 80s. Had a lot of good music out and a lot of good sports in those times. I just want to kind of get the demographic of where I was dealing with here. Okay, so Pags.
Joe, I would have never thought that you were that old, Joe. I'll be honest. I would have never.
I kind of thought he was. The gray kind of tells me at least he's in his 40s.
I don't ever look at the picture. I just see what he.
I know, but typically, unless you're a premature gray, a little gray in the beard, that's 40s. That's at least 40s.
Yeah.
Pags, I'm just trying to tell you, since you were 4 years old, Pags, I don't know when you became an Eagles fan. You may be an Eagles fan at birth. I don't know. You probably were. You probably came out as an eagle and metamorphed into a human. I don't know. I'm just saying, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 4. And I know that because my daddy put a Cowboys jacket that my grandfather had bought, gave it to my dad, put it on me. And I've been with the Star since I was 4. Now, I've been Houston, everything else, but I've always been a Cowboy since I was 4. Now, there's a lot of things I don't take personally, but when you've been through a Cowboys generation since you were 4 and you know the ups and downs that the Cowboys have been through, especially at 1-15 before Jimmy Johnson ever got there, come on. And you can't go through this much abuse and say you're a bandwagon. That just don't happen. So I'm just trying to tell you, not that it really offends me, Pax, because I love you, but I'm not a bandwagon. I am a true Cowboy fanatic. I love them. I don't put the face paint. I don't put the big cowboy hat on. But I promise you, I tell you, I've been through the wars. And every time when the Cowboys lose, I'm the one that's there that takes the crap. I don't run from it. I embrace it.
Yeah, that's why I love you, McLovin. That's why I love you, McLovin, because and when you guys lose this weekend and I get to be dancing around on Monday, you're going to be here.
I'll be here. It won't be happy. It might be a frown turned upside down. But I'll be here to take the abuse because you know what? That's what real fans do.
So, real quick, just to make sure, because I know we got away from it here a little bit. You took the Eagles and under, Jay?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did because mainly because of what Bo was saying, and I looked at the weather. And look, anytime you have a weather condition that's like that, you're not going to be throwing for a lot like that. It's going to be a lot more of the run game or short passing game. So, yeah, I got the Eagles, but I do think it's going to be the under.
All right. And then
I went that same route.
The Eagles and under. I also, it's scary that when we say they'll all say the same thing. I also have the Eagles.
Now it's the Bucks and the over. Here we go.
The only difference because I actually have it. Yeah, I think it's still 31-10. I think it's 41 points, and I don't care if it's raining or not. I think, but that's under. You know what I mean? I got it. Just I think they crush it. I think they really do crush it this time around. Yeah, just going from the 25-11.
There's no more harder competitor. You know, the Eagles are going to win that game, but I'll tell you what, there is no harsher competitor than Baker Mayfield. This is a guy that carries a lot of pride with whatever team he's with. This is the same guy that put the flag at Ohio right in the middle of the O, and I loved every minute of it because I hate Ohio with a passion. I really do. I hate Ohio with a passion. And when he put that Oklahoma flag in the middle of the O, I was like, this is a guy that is a competitor. Now, he will probably not win that game. But I will tell you this, though. The one thing I love about Baker Mayfield is his competitive drive. He is a competitor.
Yeah.
He is. He does like, you know, I like Baker Mayfield. I really do. I just don't think that he's got enough. The offensive line specifically.
Absolutely.
Well,
he's coming into this with an ankle injury, so it's not like he's going to be able to move around like he can normally either.
Well,
the last ankle injury we played against in the playoffs wasn't supposed to be able to move around either, and he did pretty well. So,
yeah, I wouldn't say those two quarterbacks are the same guy, though.
No, they are absolutely not. They are absolutely not. So, real quickly before we start to sign off here, we got a few more minutes left. Hey, so obviously I'm going to be down in Tampa on Sunday. So for anybody who is watching, who is an Eagles fan, who is going to the game, feel free to come catch up with us at Tampa Joe's with Philly of the South. We are going to be partying hard down there Sunday afternoon, watching all these games, rooting on Green Bay to see if they will get past the Cowboys, and probably just sitting back with some brewskis and some wings, watching Goff versus Stafford later on that night. But we're going to be down there and partying it there. So either look up Philly of the South, Philly Sports Trips, or just go to Tampa Joe's. There's a couple of locations. We'll be at I'm not sure exactly which one. So definitely look up Philly of the South or Philly Sports Trips to find out all the times and everything. But it's going to be a great time on Sunday. And then on Monday, we're going to be tailgating it hard, rain or shine. We're going to do what we do best, and that's show up for a playoff game. Because we show up everywhere anyways. We're one of the best traveling fan bases in the country. Where are you going to be watching?
I just want to say one thing. If the stars align, and I don't know if they will, but if the stars align, and somehow or another, Pags, you get past San Fran, and I get past Detroit, and we meet up in Dallas, I just want you to know, I fully expect you to bring the mustard for the hot dogs.
I will.
I'm just telling you.
And we have good mustard up here. We have good mustard up here.
You know what I'm saying?
Spicy hot.
I'll bring the wieners. I'll bring the Coleman stuff. I'll bring all the things for the tailgate.
We know because you're a big wiener.
I'm a mixed sausage, but it's okay. That's a sometimes commonly overlooked thing. However, I fully expect your ass to get me in that damn football game because you know I'm cheap as hell.
Well, listen. I don't do anything cheaply.
But hey, listen, I will carry your luggage into the game. I'll carry your makeup kit, whatever it is. I will be your subservient into the game if it gets me in that damn game. Because my wife won't give me more than $20, and you know damn good well you ain't getting an NFC conference title for $20. So I'm there. I'm like a little humble servant. I'm like, oh, Pags.
I tell you, not for nothing. You may have to go work a corner or something with that $20 to be able to do that. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that.
Yep.
I'm not that good of a magic man.
Yeah.
So,
no, but we will. I promise you this. And Pags, I would like for us to at least do some kind of short excerpt. If that does happen, Reed and you were going to do a tailgate. We got to do a little short excerpt, and Bo will splice you in.
Yeah.
We got to do that. We know we got to do that.
I'm with it. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. So, and because I'm definitely going. If we go to Dallas, whether it's next week or the following week, I will be in Dallas. And obviously, like I do, and I do my show, my NFC East show is with obviously a Dallas Cowboys super fan, but the Giants fan is also from Dallas.
Oh, nice.
So he lives in Dallas.
Oh, he's a Giants fan from Dallas?
So he's originally a Giants fan. He lived in Arizona. His father was from New York. So he's always been a Giants fan way.
If the father's from New York, I totally look. That's the one thing about Texas is there is a lot of people that come from New York and outlying areas down into Texas. I mean, we do inherit a lot of that. I'm just gonna say this: there's not a soul on this earth that doesn't want the Eagles to be in the NFC Championship game, and then a soul on this earth doesn't want Dallas to be in that same game to see us go up against each other for the battle. I'm telling you right now, you talk about money, you talk about what the people want. That's what the people want. They want
There's a
Dallas
reason why.
Philly going at
There's a
it.
reason why it's the biggest rivalry in sports.
Yeah, there's not a soul that doesn't want that.
So
hell, I will bet money that if that happens, I bet your Bo gets his ass on a plane and comes down and joins us.
Oh man, if I could, I would. That'd be a blast.
No, don't back out now. That's when you're supposed to say, hell yeah.
I mean, if someone else is fitting the bill for the flight, I'm in.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you should have us all together, and we should be in your show, in your spot on next Saturday.
Right. That's right.
When we have it, because like I said, we could be playing next week for this.
If Wild Wings was going to let that happen, then yeah, I would bring all my gear. We'd go live from Wild Wings.
Absolutely.
I'd be about it. That'd be hilarious.
Joe, you're a pretty good-looking guy. I bet you could go down to the corner and you could snag up some money real quick.
Jesus Christ. Something wrong with you.
Anyways,
it's a laundry list.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going to be? Are you going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings to watch watch this weekend's events?
Honestly, I'm not sure where I'm going to be at. Will I be at a sports bar sometime during the weekend? Probably yes. Probably for the Sunday night game. I could see that just because I think that's probably going to be the better game. So it'd be fun out just because the atmosphere will be electric for a close game. So probably at one of them. I don't know if I'll be at Wild Wings. Might pick one of the places that I did I did a series on Thursdays, the sports bar series. So I did a bunch of different sports bars. So I might go back to one of those, just to kind of wrap the season up kind of thing. But yeah, I'll definitely be out. So I'll put it out there. So if you want to come say hi, wherever it is I end up, definitely come out. It's always fun to, have a beer and stuff with people that watch a show. It's good times. Other than that, because there's so many storylines across these games in my best WWE, welcome to Super Wild Card Weekend.
Hey, the next WrestleMania is here in Philadelphia in April, and I'm doing everything I can to be part of that. So that's not good enough. I will have to show you sometime next week when I have to do my WWE impersonation. But in the meantime, we are up. Our 2 hours are done. stay tuned to whatever's left on NESSP. Everybody,
That's me.
thank you for
I'm up
joining
next.
us. Oh, there you go. So stay and watch Bo at 2, from 2 to 3. And thank you, everybody. Everybody have a great football wild card weekend, and we'll see you next week dancing after Dallas loses. Go Birds.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Take it easy, guys.
Take care, guys.